you join us for round number 4 of the Virtual Open Wheel Series, Season 4. Today we are at the Hungaroring in Hungary, Budapest to be exact, and for once I am actually joined by a commentator. So today I am joined by Martin. So Martin, what are your predictions for this race?
It's looking at the standings right now, it's going to be an 86 party all the way, I think. Meister is the only one in the 126 range. Raikko is close, but basically everyone else is more than almost half a second behind. It's going to be challenging for anyone but 86 to win.
Alright, so we have had to, unfortunately, scrap off the intro because WMG weren't the best pleased with our use of it last weekend. And also I've had some issues getting the stream sorted, so we've just finished qualifying, which gives Justin Meister pole. So we will be going into the warm-up momentarily. So Martin, seeming as 8-6 are dominating today, what's your thoughts on this for the championship? Do you think they'll basically have it wrapped up at the end of the day?
It's looking pretty likely. I think they've been doing that for. I mean, they also did it last season, so doing it early again here, without much team competition, as far as I'm aware. Basically, most teams have one good driver and then a clear second, but both guys on 86 are almost better than the first drivers of any other team. So it seems like an easy wrap up for them.
Of course, Jacob, I know in round 1 we talked about him being the wild horse, and since you've been gone doing various endurance things and stuff, he's really taken into this role of being second in the championship and just like, not dominating obviously, but like always constantly being third and behind the 86 guys. Do you think maybe if 86 like leave in the next couple of seasons to focus on other things, do you think maybe we'll see him as a champion someday?
It's very likely, yeah. I know from experience he's very difficult to beat. It can get some competition from Jones and Giannopoulos, but other than that, I don't see him having much trouble. If that is the case, if they're actually leaving, I don't see that happening.
No, I don't particularly see them leaving anytime soon anyway. But we're in the warm-up. So I'm just going to leave you with the cars going around a second while I go downstairs to get a drink. I know the stream has literally just started, but I am really thirsty and now's probably the best time to get a drink so I'm not exhausted. So we'll let Martin talk for a couple of minutes while I go. So take it away, Martin.
Putting me on the spot right there.
Well, yeah, putting you on the spot. But I mean, you can choose to keep quiet. It's fine. We'll put it on someone following them around the track. Joe Gillett, that's perfect. Right, we'll be back in a minute.
Well, we're looking at one of the two Invictus Ozone cars, the Joe Gillett. In front of him, Calvin Reinhardt. Nobody. Oh, Maxime Cressette, a little bit behind him. And giving a little detail about the track itself, it's the Hungarian Hungaroring. First race behind the Iron Curtain, of course. They always love to tell that. Late braking downhill turn 1. The tricky curves with these cars with these low center of gravity, easy to flip there. Turn 3, it's a long left-hander. Easy. Well, you need to really set it up for the next turn because that has very important straight line. Because overtaking in this corner, it's really tricky. It's almost impossible, especially with gravel outside the track.
I know in some games and sims that it's the corner just before the chicane that Joe, who we're riding on board with, has just gone through. I know the curb in modern versions of the track there can be extremely deadly and ruin the race.
I haven't experienced that yet, but in recent games that generally means to me that it's the Codemasters F1 games, and I don't play those ever past Monaco because then I get bored with it already. I have a terrible habit of doing that.
Anyway, we've got 7 minutes to go until the feature race, which will be 18 laps around this circuit. Now, the reason we are at the Hungaroring, you may ask, and not Monaco, which was on the calendar. Monaco was very bad in these cars, much worse than there we have one of the Invictus cars going off there. Monaco was very bad in these cars flipping, and we didn't want a horrendous incident-filled race. So we decided to go for the next best thing. The Hungaroring is known as Monaco without the barriers. So we've removed... So we're going to go here, and it is quite a reasonably short lap for these cars. It's a 1:28, according to Max Weichel there. So it should be an entertaining race. Obviously, it's not known for its overtaking, Hungary, hence being Monaco without the barriers. But usually tracks where you can't overtake in sims means also that there's going to be quite a few incidents, and we always love a few incidents in sim racing, don't we?
It's safe in sim racing. But yeah, the low opportunities for overtaking just means that you have to take a lot of risk, and a lot of risk also goes hand in hand with incidents.
So I think we should, if he's going to stay out, we should go for an onboard lap with Joe then. So he's going to go into turn 1, braking just before the Vodafone board by the looks of it. Gear 2, he's going to take the curb, go quite wide on the outside actually. And then he's going to go down to third, second for this long left-hander. And then the next bit should be fairly flat through there. So he's going to go up the hill, quick braking there, hitting the curb, trying to not lose the car. He loses the back end there. Now round this corner, which, as we mentioned in the Codemasters games at least, can be very deadly and ruin your race. And he's going to cut most of the chicane there and keep the car. But yeah, going through here nice and tidy, not really shifting too much by the looks of things through that little slow section, but as we said, but as you mostly do, he's going to keep to the outside of the track, hooking it. Not really, it's fairly simple, the Hungaroring, when it comes to your line. And now he's going to go through the long penultimate corner pretty much, if we count the final couple of corners as one thing. And he's going to go around here in third gear, get on the power kind of late, and come across the line for by the looks of things, we have to wait for this really annoying scroll to come past, but by the looks of things he has just done a
1:32.
1:32. So obviously that's not qualifying, but you don't usually do the warm
1:30.2.
Ah, 1:30.2. Sorry. So
it's
you
a
don't
whole
usually
second, almost a second gap.
you don't usually see people doing warm-up laps at completely qualifying pace, because it is the warm-up. You're just kind of, well, warming up, making sure you've made your final setup adjustments and things before you go into the race, or you just get that extra lap of practice to make sure you are confident with the track even more so that you know where you're going to brake for turn 1 to try and avoid incidents. Maybe heading into turn 1 you're going to brake a bit earlier to let everyone else kind of scrap and then turn it on in the going through turn 2 and stuff. So yeah, what are your thoughts for turn 1 today? How are they going to have to, obviously being quite a difficult braking zone, how do you think they're going to have to manage that today with these cars especially?
I don't think these cars really make it a lot more difficult on the braking, especially here. It's not like a Nürburgring, which is even more downhill and also slanted a bit, which makes it extremely difficult. But generally, it's a standard first corner, which is just needs a standard first corner approach. Of course, when you're more at the back, you need to brake a little bit earlier, maybe even a lot earlier, just because everyone needs to slow down. But I really don't see any people that are in the back of the grid that I would rank as, oh, these people don't know how to brake. So I think we're gonna get safe through turn 1. I think the real problem is gonna be turn 5.
Yeah, I think we're going to see quite a few dive bombs here, because it's not like you can really pass on the straight. And we saw at Wales, without knowing too much about the setup, I'm going to assume that this is a higher downforce track than some of the others on the calendar. Obviously, like a lot more downforce you need than Monza and things like that. Not many straights, so it is very much how you exit the corners, and qualifying, I imagine, is probably important here. Not so much as Monaco, but you won't be seeing many recovery drives from P19 to first like you maybe would at somewhere like Spa.
Yeah, it's a nature of Hungary that doesn't really. I mean, you can obviously overtake, but you need to make a big lunge, and those are not always appreciated.
Right, well, we've got a minute until the race. I feel like we should talk about the new team on the grid. Obviously not for today, but for the season. What do you make of Goma so far in the season? Because I feel like they've had an okay start to the season, but nothing too spectacular, as I discussed last week before. Was it Hockenheim last week? I think it was Hockenheim last week, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yep. So, yeah, what do you make to Goma start the season?
Well, I've been out for Wales and Hockenheim, so you have to excuse me for that. But I see now I'm just checking the standings results, and yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in how Goma does actually. I thought it would be better with Creox especially.
Okay, so we have just had the call through the mic, and I've turned it down this week so I don't get the normal pain of the non-essential personnel dude. But we're restarting warm-up for some reason. Peter Jones is late, so we're gonna have to have a few minutes. So let's find a team to talk about. I feel like we should talk about NRWO. Obviously, this will be their first week completely absent from the Vowels grid. So yeah, so obviously, if you're one of their drivers, what are you looking for to kind of get a seat now? Are you going to be just keeping on your toes, or are you going to be setting laps on the server to kind of say, look, here's my time on live races, you should definitely sign me because otherwise I can't race?
Well, it's not really a problem because you can race without a team here. So there's that.
Well, no one wants to race in the ugly league car, I suppose.
It doesn't look too bad.
No, it's fine. But I'm trying to think if we've got anyone in the league car today. We've got Fabio Lotz. I can't pronounce his name. Lozio.
Lozio.
He's racing the league car. You can see here the league car. It's alright. It's fairly bland. It's using just the Valves logo, and of course the Ohm logo. Because I think is it Jan who runs Ohm Designs? Oh, we're going into the grid now. Right. Okay then. We'll go into the camera angle and we'll wait for the formation lap.
There's also a name I'm gonna be struggling with. Szymon Krzyziak. Also running the standard Vos car.
Oh yeah, now he was in the Discord this week, desperately looking for a team. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to find one. Hopefully he'll be able to find one for next season because no one really, let's be honest, would rather be racing for a team than... Oh! Just in there. I'm sorry, I'm in Discord. 1 second. So no one really wants to be racing for the
Burnout on the start is always a good way to start. I mean, the start of formation lap, that's okay.
So Joris Bilkins has not started the formation lap here. I want to know what happened to him. We'll find out soon, I'm sure. Everyone just warming up their tyres, getting ready for the long race ahead. Justin Meister seems to be fine. He's obviously laid down the rubber. I saw at the corner of my eye. Thought it was much worse than it was. But you don't want to crash on the formation lap because that would be pretty annoying. I don't know if does damage count on the formation lap in R-Factor.
It does, but if you get terminal damage, you can retire from the race. But then, because it's still a formation lap, the race hasn't actually started. You can just rejoin from the pit lane, so it's not too damaging. But it certainly is a hindrance.
So everyone being quite careful warming up their tyres, making sure that they only do it on the bit so it's entirely safe too, because they don't want to lose it. I imagine it is probably quite easy to lose it here. I haven't actually done any laps on this track. I've been practicing for UGR most of the time I've been racing this week, but I imagine they really just don't want to be too stupid. Because obviously you don't want to be getting front wing damage, especially around tracks like this and Wales and things like that. And I imagine this camera angle is going to really annoy me going up there today. But all crawling around now, reforming the grid. So final thoughts. What are we going to see into turn 1? Obviously we've said it's probably going to be alright. But do you think we're going to see any weird dive bombs and like really 3 wide moves heading down into through sector 1, or do you think it's going to be quite everyone just settling in?
Well, there's always going to be some. Well, depends. If everyone has a decent start, then it's going to be pretty standard. We're going to be waiting for Joris for a little while. But I think it's going to be clean. I'm putting my money on the clean for turn 1.
And Joris comes around the final corner. So we'll ride on board with Max, Justin, for the start. We'll wait for the lights. We have 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights are on. And it's lights out and away we go. It seems to be a good start from Justin Meister, and Jacob also gets a good start. He's going to have the inside into turn 1, looking to make the move on the 8.6 car, and he makes it stick. That's quite good from him there. Going wide there, further back, we'll just move to them quickly. But everyone seems to have got away all right into turn 1, which is very good. Is that
it's Grosset.
Max Krauset back in the Reading Game car has spun and is down into P15. That's a big shame for him. And who's that gone wide there? Is that Dimitri? And someone has just is round. I think that's Amma Hammond, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So Max has already gained himself a place. Amma, I'm sure, looking both him and Max looking at a recovery job now. Very good shot of Max going over the curb there. But let's turn our attention further forward in the grid to see if any issues have been caused or anything.
Not as far as I can see. Everything's still in order.
So Dimitri going for a move on Joris. And he goes round the outside, and Joris doesn't really challenge him. He's kind of just saying, yeah, you can go through there. Doesn't really bother me. So we'll look at Justin Meister. That's looking at Jacob. We'll look at Justin Meister. Everyone going uniformly through there. It's completely normal. And a fairly standard first lap. Not usually what you'd imagine. But everyone seems to be fairly clean and got away all right there. A very good run to the line. So now you're Max or Amma, Simon, the new driver, looking all over the gearbox of Massey there. But he's gone for the move actually. Massey squeezes him quite a bit, but he makes it stick as Massey goes onto the gravel. And then further back, Dimitri and Calvin are in a bit of a tussle. Dimitri going round the outside there and hits the curb quite badly. But makes the move stick anyway.
That's a little bit of an over-ambitious move from Dimitri, sir.
Oh, Ron, hi.
Hello.
I don't really disagree. I disagree with that actually. I think it was fine. The one move I did disagree with, it was Sismon on Riboli in turn 5. But he did it actually. Immediately I thought that's not going to work out, but then he did it the right thing and then was braking early. Basically forcing Riboli to outbrake himself, and he's able to switch back, gaining himself the position, which is, seeing how tough it is to overtake here, this could be valuable.
Yeah, Ron must have heard us talking about NRWO and has decided to join the commentary team. So Ron Squire has joined us.
I didn't. Thank you very much. But I didn't really hear about you talking about NRWO. I simply joined because the broadcast I'm supposed to be on tonight is off due to visual damage. So that's unfortunate for that. So I thought I'd join you for the rest of the evening. But yeah, I didn't really join purely because you were talking about NRWO, because that's done now. That's done. So let's move on to the race.
Speaking of the race, so we're going to see across the top of your screen, we're going to be seeing the running order currently as we look further back to see if there's any moves. Dimitri, far back there, thought I was seeing him going for a move, but we run Justin Meister, Jacob, Max Reichel, Peter Jones, Simon, Massimilo Rubioli, Dimitri, Calvin Reiner, Joris Bilkins, Joe Gillett, Creox Baguette, Amma Hammond, Fabio Lozio, and then of course Gabriel and Max Krauset. Amma Hammond has recovered, but Max Krauset seems to be stuck behind Lafreniere there.
Yeah, you can really get a pass stick together is Maxime right now, all the way at the back of Lafreniere, just going through onto the main straight now. I'm actually looking at this through live races, so I do apologise if I am behind. And yeah, but the top three are really mixing it up with each other, aren't they?
We've just seen Max go for the move. That was quite ambitious, and that was beautifully done there. But Lafreniere has got him back down the inside. But this is going to be a little bit of a tussle. Max gets through, and you imagine it's not done yet. Now it is. Now it's definitely done. So let's move further forward. And that's Creox Baguette, Gabriel's teammates.
And I will point out that Demetrius is actually... I said he was moved to 6. Massimiliano manages to get back 6. But Demetrius was actually close to 6.
And now we have Max Weichel all over the back of Jacob. We're going to follow this battle for a little bit in Max Weichel's view. Now, I'm sure he's probably just going to be thinking of battling with Jacob so that his teammate can build a lead. but he's going to try and stay in the slipstream here, but of course Jacob's got Max's slipstream. Probably working to the effect of Max, seeing how effective that actually is there. He's going to go for the late brake there, and he's going to see if he can make the move stick, which heading through he does, and now, or does he? He's not kept it yet, now he has, so it's a reading at a 8-6-1-2. I wish it was a reading game 1-2, but no, at the moment it is an 8-6-1-2, but I'm sure Jacob will try to have another go at Max next lap.
Oh, we've got a little bit of tussling going on at turn 1. Looks like it's Joe Gillett. Joe Gillett stopped for a little bit, or he spun down from 9th place, was he, or 10th place. He's now down to 11th. Amir Hamoud has taken over his place for 10th position, so not looking good for Joe at the moment.
Joe is here going... he gets a touch of oversteer there, and Creox Spaghetti goes wide again. Not enjoying that corner, is he? And Fabio Lozio goes wide there. But it's been a fairly settled race so far. We'll see how pit stops can affect this race. We do run Justin Meister, Max Weichel, Jacob, Peter Jones, Simon, Massey, Dimitri, Calvin Reinert, Joris Bilkins, Emma Hammond, Joe Gillett, Fabio Lozio, Creox Spaghetti, and Max Krause, and then Gabriel Lafreniere. So the top 3 seems to be fairly settled, but Peter Jones there making a good move on Jacob, which puts him into 3rd. So the top 3 isn't settled anymore, because there's a fairly good tussle there. Jacob tries to go around the outside, and there is a bit of contact, but we seem to be okay. Perhaps his tyres are, or perhaps he's gone and ran a bit heavier in fuel. I don't know. Or perhaps Peter has just got better pace.
I think the problem Jacob is having is his lack of top speed, because compared to Reichel and Jones, he's over 6 kilometers an hour down on top speed. And both those passes have been made on the front straight, so he might be running too much downforce, not able to get close enough to pass on the twisty section, and not fast enough to defend at all on the fast section, on the straight line section.
Yeah, Joris Bilkins just spun off that, I believe, is turn 4 to 5. I believe that's top of the hill. And he's gone down to 10th place. Reinhart's passed him. Hamoud's passed him. So he's now back down to 10th position. And we've also got our first pitter. It's Justin Meister from top spots. He's now down into 6th. He's making his stop, as well as Demetrius Giannopoulos. So Meister's going to come out now in 6th. And Giannopoulos, where's he going to come down? 8th, 9th. We've got 2 more people going down the pit straight. So it's going to be 11th. He's going to be parked up behind Joe Gillett there. So he's now down into 11th position after his stop.
Have you got the information on live races of pit stops? Because if so, it'd be very useful if you could keep us updated on all of the pit stops.
Okay, I don't know what that sound was. But it's actually saying that no stops have been made yet. Both Giannopoulos and Meister made their stops. So I think it may be updated at the end of this lap, but I can't really see it at the moment.
I do apologise for that sound. My fire alarm does like to go off for no apparent reason. But it's all sorted now. Should be. So, Justin Meister. Maybe his fresher tyres will let him build a gap to his teammate when all the pit stops are done. But maybe you have to think that maybe 8-6 are just going to go for the old go-kart tactic. Reichel coming into the pits there by the looks of it. Maybe they'll go for the old go-kart tactic of just go in tandem and don't challenge to build a gap to everyone else.
And Colbus has just followed him in there as well. So that's another 2 drivers in. Who else is going to pit in right now?
Meister quite easily gets Reichel there as expected.
I'm not
So
sure.
Jones now leads the race. That is good. That's good position for him at the moment. Can't see really anyone else coming into the pit unless I'm very much mistaken. And it's I think no other people are pitting in. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh wait a bit, there is one. Maxime Crusette is now in 15th and pitting.
Right, so, Martin, I believe you had a point there. What's the, what were you going to say?
I'm not sure if I agree with this pitting in this early because they're not even 1/3 of the race done. They already have to pit for tires, for example. I think that's the only reason you would pit at all, because you can't refuel. That would potentially mean we get a 2-stop race.
You can refuel. I think it was brought in for this season that refueling is allowed.
Yeah, refueling is definitely allowed.
Meanwhile, Peter Jones and and Khrushchev into the pit lane, sharing a grid spot, which is always frustrating.
And Massimiliano Ripley is now leading the race. Yet to make Hayes stop. Second place is Meister and Max Reichel. Both the 8-6 guys are now second and third.
And we have our first retirement of the race in Calvin Reinert. He has retired in the Ozone Invictus car there, which will mean he will start at the back of the grid in race 2, no matter what happens.
I think it's front of the grid.
No, if you retire, then the reverse grid doesn't count. Jarvis Bilkins and Emma Hammond going too wide through there, which is quite ambitious. But Emma Hammond seems to fend off the attack of that Kvalsek Grand Prix car there. Now, on the point of Martin saying that this could be a 2-stop race, perhaps it would have been better for the cars pitting about now to either go 2 laps later so that they could keep on the softs for the rest of the race, because we are about halfway through now on lap 9. Or if you were going to expect everyone else to do a 2-stop, maybe go on to the medium tyres and then going for a longer stint. Perhaps maybe your newer tyres would, or your less worn tyres would be a lot better. Jacob here, all over the back of Peter Jones, going down the pit straight here in the slipstream. But so maybe it would be better to just run on the medium tyres and then hope that you can make it up when everyone else is going for a 2-stop. But I don't know. I think a 2-stop would be very ambitious for an 18-lap race around the Hungaroring.
I'm not familiar with how Hungaroring is on tire wear, honestly, sadly. But if we're in an 18-lap race and we're already pitting on lap 6, then it might be on the table. If you're struggling to make 6 laps, then I don't see how you make 12.
So, we're going to follow this battle, actually, because it is quite interesting. Perhaps this is what Massey is thinking. Perhaps Massey has gone a bit longer so that he can really push towards the end of this race here.
I think he's just going for a 1-stopper now because he's actually halfway through the race now. So it's definitely a 1-stop strategy as far as Massimiliano is concerned.
I definitely think that most people are going for the 1-stop, but maybe if Massey can avoid making mistakes here, perhaps if everyone else's tyres do wear off, maybe he can really make...
Now.
He's coming for his stop, Massey. So we're going to follow this battle here because Jacob could have a go at Peter in the slipstream. Now they've overtaken Massey, which sees Massey into... And Jacob's gone for the dive bomb, and that was a really good move there. And he seems to have made that stick. So perhaps Massey's going to bank on the fact that he can, in P7 now, that he can really get lap time out of the other cars there. Now I was speaking to him, and he said that he doesn't really have much practice around this track. But he is in the hunt of Dimitri. We all know Dimitri has got some very good pace. And And Simon has actually been pretty... I don't know his name because I haven't checked Discord for a minute, but he's actually had a fairly good first Valve race. What do you make of him?
Simon Kucek. He's actually doing well than previously anticipated. So he could be, yeah, he's definitely on for point to finish. Let's be honest with that. So but 5th place, maybe, if Peter Jones makes a mistake in his battle with Jakob, he could be in 4th. But Simon needs to look out for Demetrius behind him because he's coming like a hurricane. It is Demetrius.
And Peter Jones, this battle with Jakob, not sure how you pronounce that.
It's Jakob.
He is going to look, maybe he can have a go of another dive bomb. Jacob kind of telling him, you need to go around the outside here because I'm going to cover off the inside. But he's definitely too far back for the move there. But if he can get a better exit, then there's definitely an overtaking spot down here. But again, he can't gain too much time. So he'll probably have to try next lap by the looks of things. And if I was to hazard a guess, then I'd imagine that that dirty air is quite powerful around a track like this, because I know Zandvoort last season was really bad with dirty air. So yeah, so perhaps Jakob could force him into a mistake in the dirty air, as we see there almost happening. But yeah, by the looks of things, it looks like Peter might have him next time we go down that pit straight.
So, still 14 drivers left in this race. Only one retirement so far in Calvert Reinhardt. Meister still leading ahead of Max Schreichl, a 8-6-1-2 again is on the cars. Jakob Kalbasic.
Jones makes a mistake. Jones makes a mistake.
Peter Jones has made a mistake. That talking about and yours, here's Dimitri. And Massey, is Massey going to make the move? Massey makes it as well past him. Now, this is exactly what Ron was talking about on the last lap. Peter down to P7 now, though. That's going to be, especially with Massey on the newer tyres, that's going to be upsetting for Peter.
Yeah, it's a huge disappointment for Jones. Absolute disappointment.
Justin Meister has managed to pull a 2-second gap to his teammate Max Weichel. He looks very, very good for the championship. If it keeps going like this. Almost like a Rosberg-Hamilton-esque battle between the 8-2s in their period of domination, I suppose you could say. Justin Meister coming up to the lap car of Fabio Lozio. Hopefully there'll be no tussle with the lap car as we've seen in the past. But the race has fairly died down here. We are on lap 13, so we haven't got too long to go. Justin eating all of the slipstream he can get from Fabio before Fabio lets him through. Nice and easy. But we'll turn further back to see if there's any tussles going on. Let us know, Martin or Ron, if you see anything interesting.
Well, Simon just made the fastest lap of the race, so he's definitely one to look out for. Mass had his personal best broken as well, and it looks like the 8-6s, even though they're still 1-2, they're still going to be separated at this moment in time. Meister is on perfect course now to win the first Grand Prix of the day. Unless it's one Grand Prix, then I am an absolute idiot. So it is a 1-2 for 8-6 at the moment, but don't rule out a surprise from Jakob, or for that much, even more of a surprise from Simon.
So, in the latter stages of this race here, almost like IndyCar taking breaks there, except we don't take breaks in the middle of a bodged pit stop, which hasn't happened here. But Calvin Reiner is the only retirement from this race, and it's kind of died down, I will admit, since we had our last move. This battle, Simon, perhaps Jakob is going to have to look in his mirrors very soon in that Copic car. Now, Copic have had a very good season so far, second in the team's championship, if I'm correct. And if we look back at Dimitri and Iris are almost fallen giants, having 8-6, stealing their crown from season 2 into season 3, and they haven't really been able to recover with the issues with Dio. Now Dimitri being the only one driving their car.
But one of the true fallen giants right now from season 1 was Invictus, because they finished ahead of the NRWO in the constructor standings, and they have really fallen down. So Invictus, the true fallen giant here.
And we keep watching Dimitri now because Simon might be a bit of a tussle. He's made the move. That's very good from Simon. And now perhaps Dimitri will be thinking, well, these two are close together. I'll guzzle up all of that slipstream, and I'll go for a dive bomb with the most of them. Now, if anyone was to do it, I'd put my money on Dimitri. All he has to do is get a good exit here in the slipstream.
Riboli also has catch up to the group.
And
Simon really has
joining it as well. Running.
And Simon really is. Okay, and Simon really is putting a surprise package up at this moment in time.
Simon is driving the widest Vals car that you'll ever see. As he's basically creating a trolley train of his own. Jakob going wide there, and Dimitri and Massey saying thank you very much. We will take that position. Simon P3, Dimitri P4, and Massey now P5. Jakob P6 obviously, and then Peter Jones in P7. Hasn't really been able to recover from that spin earlier on. And now, if we look back forward, Dimitri is looking to make a move now. He's going to make a move down the inside of Simon. And he's made that stick, and now Massey looking on the newer tyres. He's probably going to end up following him through as well. So, Martin, what is your opinion on... We had a dead period over the last few laps, and now it seems to have sprung to life again with Massey getting the better run out of there. And he says, thank you very much, I'll take P4. So, what's your opinion on the race so far?
Well, I'm surprised actually. I thought it died down and it's gonna stay dead, but the resurgence of Giannopoulos really has sparked some life into it, because you can see that Jakob doesn't really have the pace. He's dropped off the rest of that group and was basically holding everyone up. But due to the nature of the track, they just can't overtake here. Now they've managed, and then I think these three are going to be fighting till the end.
We've only got a couple of laps to go, and third place is still pretty much at stake between Dimitris, Massimiliano and Simon. And don't forget, Jakob is closing up a little bit as well, so keep an eye on that battle. The battle for the lead is pretty much over, with Meister looking to take authoritative control, but third place is still pretty much at stake. That's all I've got to say for now.
So,
I have no idea.
Is that a retire? Max Reichel perhaps is retired, or his tyres have gone or something. But
It's probably a puncture, I'm not too sure.
And then Peter Jones goes for the move on Jakob. Both of them have fallen quite far back in this race, but Reichel stays in the pits. He's not moving anywhere anytime soon, and Peter makes the move stick. But moving forward, that means that But this is
Um,
rather confusing because the positions haven't updated.
he's on track for me. That's what
And
I'm
he's on
confused
track.
about.
It is my... Something's up with the radar there.
But if that was the case, actually on track, then Meister would have taken the victory regardless. But it's still going to be a Meister victory as we now take you to these last few corners.
I think I see what you mean. Now I'll explain to you later.
So Meister is going around the final corner now, and it's looking like it is going to be, even though we've just had that scare, it's going to be an 8-6-1-2. He takes his, I think it's his third successive victory in a row now, and in style he's done that, Max. And then Dimitri takes P3 to round off the podium. By the looks of things now, I doubt Massey's going to have much doing or saying in that. And there we go. So that is pretty much the race over. You can see the finishing positions going across your screen. Now, Ron Martin. That was a Marmite race. It had good period, bland period, good period, bland period. What are we saying?
But basically, Marmite is either a race that you either love or hate. I actually love and expect the likes of Joe Gibbett just mix it up a little bit in there. I'm not too sure what I'm saying right now, but you either hate, but you even hate it because you see the 8-6 duo winning again. You can't stop them really, but it's like I said, there's a Marmite race. You either love it or hate it, and that's pretty much perfectly described.
But what's surprising me actually is that Riboli finished 4th. I did not see that happening actually, because he was even before the pit stop cycle began. He wasn't in 4th. I think it was 5th or 6th. Dropped back to 7th after he stopped and managed to hold on to the end. I'm impressed.
And Fabio Lozio is on pole for race 2. But speaking of Massey, now I was speaking to him and he hasn't done much practice around this track. He did a lot of practice around Monaco because the plan was try and get pole at Monaco and then that's half the job done. But yeah, he'll be very happy with that. P4, that's not bad. Very, very good race from him. But we will be taking a quick break now as we wait for race 2. So yeah, stay with us. We will be back in about 3 to 6 minutes time, depending on when the warm-up ends. So yeah, so let's see what race 2 has to throw at us.
You're offline now? Yeah, the thing. Can you stay for a little while? I guess that's no. Because that's why I didn't say it on the broadcast, because that's
Well, you do. Well, you do sound quiet, but I don't know if you. Are you sick?
I am sick. Yeah.
Then it might sound a little bit, yeah. But you do sound quiet. I will say that.
Yeah, that's a Discord problem because I don't have this on TeamSpeak, and I've set all my settings set on full audio and. The 144 144.
Red to green, red to green, red to green.
The most confusing stopping light ever. Can I go or can I go?
But imagine if that was actually an F1 starting, like you're just thinking, well, which one is it? I need to go. I need to go. I need to race. Yeah, look for that one. Right.
So you really need me now? Then I will just not work. I want an answer afterwards, by the way.
So we are back in the virtual open wheel series for race 2 now here at Hungary in Budapest. It was a very Marmite race 1, and we're going to be going into race 2 now. Fabio Lozio is on pole. Gabriel Lafreniere, Criox Baguette, basically make it a Goma 2-3. That is not what they'd be wanting. But we begin the formation lap now. So, you are Goma, Ron, or Martin. Either of you can answer this question. What are you thinking now? Because there could be a tussle between the two Goma cars, and you don't want that.
No.
They're going to want some points. So,
Yeah.
What are the thoughts?
Well, the thing is, they don't really have team orders, don't they, Goma? But I presume that if they want to win this race and hope that the top runners don't burst throughout the field, they want to make sure they employ a system so they think, okay, I can try and defend this, but also try and be as fast as possible without going off the road. So I think Criox might take the full advantage and go on to win this race, but otherwise they just need to be careful out there.
Perhaps Gabriel might let Criox through, and then they can work in tandem to kind of cut away, if we're assuming that Fabio gets away well, and they can just cut away from the rest of the pack. You know, the old go-karting technique. I just
think
love to use that as an example. Anyway, carry on,
I
Martin.
think the
Sorry.
one rule Goma has is don't hit each other. I think that's the only rule they can apply, because the guys with decent pace are not far behind at all.
And Jorvis Bilkins is in the pit lane. Isn't that lovely?
Oh dear.
After his starts the formation that last race. And the Akoma cars always went side by side there. That was quite that was very sportsmanlike on the formation lap. And we are actually kind of going 3 wide down the formation. I think this is going to get a bit frosty in turn 1. Like we saw in Wales and like we saw last week.
A frosty reception between the two Goma cars, I believe, but hopefully nothing like that will happen in the actual race as we line up on the grid now.
Okay, so everyone is formed up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And it's lights out and away we go. It's a good start from Fabio Lozio. Creox Baguette gets a normal start, isn't able to make up much time on his teammate. And speaking of his teammate, Gabriel goes for the move, but he cannot make it. He's way too far back, and Creox does get the move done, as a matter of fact. And there's Max Krauset looking to pick up the scraps there. But Amma Hammond is able to overtake him and make that stick now. Or does he? No, he doesn't. Max managed to defend him off. But everyone seems to be fairly
clean
heading through there. And acceptance, apart from... Who's that? At the very...
That's A6. That's Meister.
Justin Meister.
Damage rear wing as well.
Let's have a look at that rear wing then. Yeah, that slightly damaged rear wing.
Oh dear, that's not going well for him.
We'll have a look at that wing now, close up in the swingman camera. So it looks fairly intact. Not like he's not gonna cause him an insane amount of bother, but perhaps a pit stop to make up this time. But if anyone is gonna make up the time and do a recovery drive, it's gonna be Justin Meister.
Meanwhile, the Kopic guys have passed the Goma guys. They're now 2nd and 3rd behind Lazio.
Quite a lot of action there. The contact between Dimitri is that, and someone else wasn't able to catch their name. But Alex Hallow's there, trying to do the best he can. But the field is fairly bunched up at the moment, with just the stragglers at the back of Meister, Lafreniere.
Contact turn 1 between Hammond and Lazio.
Oh dear! But everyone's that's Dimitri.
Oh,
I think that was Dimitri. We will look now. I think it was Dimitri. I couldn't quite get that, and there it was. It was Dimitri. I imagine he's probably got some form of damage there. Maybe a slightly damaged front wing, or...
And Lazio's off.
And Lazio's off there as well. And is that an unsafe rejoin of the track? And Massey goes for a move on his teammate now. And I imagine Max will probably just let him through there, as he does. Nice and clean between them. Taking a lot of curve, Simon there. Lazio goes wide again. Doesn't hit anyone, manages to keep that clean. And most people go through on him there. And Amma Hammond has gone through and is now in the lead. I wonder what happened there that made the Goma cars not get that. And then Peter Jones looking for redemption. It's a Coping Motorsport 1-2. Jakob, the king of the second race. Perhaps he'll overtake his teammate. We'll just check how many laps there are. There were 8 laps, which isn't that long for a race like this. And already it is quite the gap forming. 4 seconds, but by the looks of it, between Dimitri and Creox Baguette. Those 3 there at the back looking to Jakob going wide. But yeah, not settled would be very much the wrong word for that start to the race. What's your take on it, guys?
Well, the Goma drivers did not do what I think is the right way to try and employ their system, I hope, if that was their system. If it was their system that they wanted to mess about in the beginning, then that is not the right way to do it. And as a result, they are far down. Hammoud has taken the initiative, as you would expect, but Jakob is hoping to get back on the charge at the moment, back into first, hopefully. And that's what I got to say for that.
Alright then, so maybe Jakob's going to let him go, or perhaps he's just going to go for the move on this lap, because he seems to be close enough that maybe the slipstream, which we've seen quite powerful down that pit straight, sorry. Perhaps this is going to be what gives him the lead. So we'll ride on board with his visor cam. You can see the car shaking quite violently there from all of the speed through here. R-Factor displaying that quite nicely for a 15-year-old game, but doesn't quite make the move stick.
I think he's 14 years old.
Well, same thing. The 8.6 car here of Max, I think that is, looking for a move on site. Seaman, of course, Max is the king of recovery drives, much like his teammate. I mean, him, Dimitri, and his teammate all like share the crown, really. But you have to think maybe he'll make this move stick in the next couple of laps. But anyway, we'll move back now to see Justin Meister, who is Fabio Lozio. That's Max Krauset on 2 wheels collecting Dimitri. His season has gone from bad to worse, and Justin goes to the move on Fabio Lozio, but can't make it stick for P7 by the looks of things.
That really shows how difficult overtaking here is, if even people like the 86 guys are still only 5th and 8th.
Although he's looking to make that change with a move around the outside, he can't quite make it, but he goes for the switchback. And because of R-Factor's camera angles, we couldn't see that move. But now we'll ride on board with him down this back straight in the visor cam. Surely he can make the slipstream use to his advantage. And Lozio is just like, I'm gonna make sure that I cover off the inside and make sure that you do not get my slipstream. And look at the amount of speed Lozio's got there. But Meister is like, I'll take that all day. And you have to imagine that move's stuck now for P7. Even though Lozio does go around the outside, he won't make that stick, I imagine, until at least the next lap. Max Krauset tries to make the move on Joe Gillett, but is way too far back there. And then Joris Bilkins, in a world of his own, out back in P14. 20 seconds, by the looks of things, over 20 seconds, behind Gabriel Lafreniere.
What's interesting is that Raikko actually made the same move on Simon that Justin did on Lozio, which is interesting because they have the same cars. But Simon managed to get back the position in turn 3, going around the outside. Which I did not expect it happening. I switched from from Max view to Justin, and I saw the exact same thing, which is okay. That's interesting, but then I switched back and Simon's in the head again. I didn't really expect that to happen, but that shows how good Simon actually is, which we all underestimated.
So the Copic guys now are not doing the just staying behind each other and being on their best behaviour. But Peter Jones is quite close behind, and so is the rest of the pack. Simon looking to pounce, and Jacob, you have to think maybe he's also looking to pounce on his teammate, but surely he'll just let him go and just let him get the points for the team. But no, we've got 3 laps about left in this race, and I do want to mention interviews will not be happening today, unfortunately. I've got something to do after the race, so I won't have time for the interviews. We'll have to shoot off, but we'll try and start next weekend 15 minutes early and maybe do some pre-race interviews. But anyway, back to the action here. There's I say action, lack of action. I say that as Max Krauset goes off again. That's a huge shame for him. He's gone from bad to worse. And
We'll keep an eye on Battle at the front, and it's Amir Hammoud who still has his teeth onto the top spots at the moment, but Jakob is really closing up. Like I said, I'm behind with live races, but I believe Jakob is making his overtaking move, is he? I'm not too sure.
Jakob does not go for the move there. He's way too far back. But we've got 2 laps to go now. As
2 laps to go.
So if he doesn't get him this lap, perhaps he'll get him next lap. Martin, what have you got to say?
This might be controversial, but I don't think they should switch position because I think Jacob is a much better defender than Amir is. And that way it's just a surefire way to collect that one too. They really need to get to close the gap on 86. And that's not the way
Contact between the teammates there, actually. I totally agree with you, Martin, sorry. I think Jakob should just stay behind him and just let his teammate collect this win. I know we all would want to grab that win, but it could end in disaster, and suddenly you've thrown away some really good points for the team. And even though their championship
Meister
with
another crash.
We go further back, and oh
no!
Not what he wants at all. But we'll look further front because this could be the move. Now, as long as he gets a good exit here, Jakob, which he does. So he's in the slipstream, looking to make the move. Will he be close enough? I don't think it will, or he could be. No, he's going to give his teammate the room, and we're on the last lap now. But no, he's gone wide, and Jakob takes the lead. Now, did that look like a team order, or to you, Martin?
I think it was just Amir outbraking himself.
Just simple mistake. Amir should have really trying to keep it as tight as possible if he wanted to win the race, but he didn't. And looks like Jakob is on the way to become still the race 2 king, as you pronounced him. Proclaimed him. Sorry.
Though, you have to think maybe he's not gonna make it now. It's a fairly safe co-pick 1-2, which will be a good.
But you never know.
Which will be a good result for them. Anything can happen, but if anything's safe, I'd say this is definitely fairly safe. Justin Meister there, still somehow managing to be just behind his teammate, showing how OP 86 actually are. Now, I don't want to accuse, but Max has definitely made their cars more OP than everyone else's, because there is no way to. Massey looks to be getting Simon there.
And the last few corners for Jakob.
Jakob goes around the final corner, and he is the king of the second race. He takes the win, and Amir Hammoud then goes through and makes it a 1-2 for Kopik. Then it's Simon keeps Massey at bay. Max Weichel, and then it will be Justin Meister. Then Dimitri, and the rest of the grid is as it is. So as I said, unfortunately we won't be doing post-race interviews, but thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me, you two. It is Monza next week, the Italian Grand Prix. So we will see you then. So apart from that, we'd like to thank you all very much for joining us. We'll see you in Monza. Good night.